Hey YouTube, welcome back. I'm going to try to run through this TFT install. This is the Game Boy Color shell that we had from our last build that was in really great shape, and I didn't want to butcher up the case. So I got one of these older TFT display screens that you don't have to modify the shell for. And it took me a little bit to put this video together because you actually need a little bit smaller surface area. This screen is a little smaller than the original or modded. So this screen requires this bezel. So I got to order it up, and you can kind of see there. It's a little wider here, so it gives you a little less viewing area, but it's really not that noticeable. And I think it's totally worth it to save a case that's in good condition. Maybe you're nostalgic for a case. Maybe you just really like how clean it is. Kind of like this one. I was really happy with the way it was set up. So we're going to dive in. We'll test the screen, get it installed, and see where we end up. TFT screen set. I got it from Handheld Legend. Comes with a few things. It comes with these two pieces of insulating tape. These are pretty important. So on the back, I've got this hooked up. This comes separate. I've basically hooked up the screen because we're going to get ready to test it. But on the back of this screen, see that the metal that's there, and also on the back of this board, which is going to get really close to these components here. And what we don't want is for anything to short out. So it gives you a piece of tape that is actually fit. Don't know if you can see it or not, but it actually has the notch. It's basically fit to size to that board. And then this one here is fit to go on the back of there. The kit also came with these two spacers. However, I've got some of these 3D printed spacers. And the difference in the spacers is not much with the spacers that come with the kit. It's just these little pieces of Lexan or Plexi, and they fit in on the sides just to basically fill the void that's going to be left behind. I like the 3D printed ones because not only does it help fill the voids on the side, but it also helps with alignment because of these notches that are set here. So when we set these notches in like that, it's actually going to help align us a little bit better. It'll give us a nice corner to mount the screen down to. And then this one here will go up here once we get the screen mounted in. I already had, I should say. This is basically double-sided tape that goes around the edges to help hold everything down and in place. I already had one, so I'm going to save this one for another project. And that's it. So there's this piece of foam. I think it's just for, basically cushioning things. One of the things that is recommended is that these pins that are here on the back of the cartridge slot, it's kind of recommended, at least on the Handheld Legend site, it's recommended that you trim down these just to, I think, give as much clearance as possible so you don't short anything out. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now we're much closer to flush with the board. And again, might not be exactly necessary, but I'm okay with it. Still got a great solder connection there. Cartridge slots in tight. Should be good to go. First thing I do when I get a replacement screen, whether it's a stock screen or any other screen, is I test it out before going through the full installation process and finding out you had a bum screen. So I'm going to go ahead and install this here. This is a great mod too because there's no solder wire connector. You do not need to power up. You don't have to wire up your power connection because it's already wired through the ribbon cable. I'm going to get my benchtop power supply here. Remember, 3 volts. All right. And then we can turn on the output. And boom. Hey, looking good. Looking good, sounded good. That's great. And then just for kicks, let me get my only Game Boy Color game. I really need to take care of that. And since we did trim on the slot, nice to know that it is working. And it looks like it's working great. All right, I've put a paper towel down to protect the surface. One thing we're going to talk about later, there is a protective piece of plastic here on the screen. We need to make sure we remove that before we install. You guys help me remember. And let's see. So this is really, really straightforward. You just want to cover up as much of the metal here as possible. Just like so. And then this goes on the back of the PCB board. Let's see if I can show you when I peel it. You'll see there's this little notch down here, and this little notch lines up with this notch here. Not super sticky. You get lots of chances to make sure everything's lined up and everything's covered. The most important thing is these vias on the back of this board. Sometimes that metal protrudes just enough and it can short things out. So this is going to prevent that. All right, now that we have those insulated, I'm going to go ahead and pop out our original screen.
The ground. Whoa. Okay.
Just like that. And we can go ahead and assemble the board. Now, ribbon cable comes out the bottom of the screen. And like I said, I like using these because that corner right there is going to give me my alignment for everything. So without hopefully messing anything up, I'm going to take off our protective piece and line up into that corner. And see, now there's a really, really low tolerance fit between the corner piece and this piece here. And then I can take my other piece and put it here on the side just to make sure nothing turns in any direction. And then we get everything seated. Let me show you what I'm talking about so you can kind of see there. Here's my original. See, with the original display, we'd be able to see those edges through the board. With the smaller, reduced size bezel, see that at all. We'll go ahead and install it. Try to prevent any dust from getting in there while I'm working on the rest of it. I like to leave the front piece on just for protection. Now with that, you can see, you know, at an angle you can see it, but from straight on plane, it covers up all that very nicely. All right, here we go. Okay, again, this should be insulated. I have in the past done things like put electrical tape here, even sometimes a little bit of electrical tape, or would be even better is like Kapton tape, non-conductive high heat tape. Not a lot of heat generated here, but Kapton's a little easier to work with, less sticky than electrical tape. But I think for now, we've got pretty good setup here. Just a little bit of tape. Hold everything in place while we get the motherboard lined up. Just remember, don't over tighten. Now we're going to test again. Once we're here, just to make sure everything's lined up right. Nothing's shorted out. Nothing's crunched or squished or, I don't know, whatever. So DC on. Lost my negative. Pretty good. All right, and there it is. The TFT screen is installed and good to go. Really quick, simple mod. The screen itself is a little bit cheaper than the LCD mod that we did in the last video. I get to reuse the shell. I did have to buy a new bezel for it, but that's a given. Here's a comparison between this is the one that we did in the last mod. I'm going to fire them both up. Obviously, you don't get the coolness of changing the color of the logo and things like that, and you can tell the screen is significantly larger in this one. Now, the screen on the original Game Boy, the unmodded Game Boy, when you look at those, it's actually really close. It's slightly smaller, but not noticeable. I don't think it's noticeable at all. This was a fun build. It came out really well. The screen color is phenomenal. We have the ability to dim the brightness like any other screen. Most importantly, I was able to use this original shell, which was in really great shape. So if you have a Game Boy from your childhood or just one that's in great condition and you want to upgrade it, this is definitely the way to go. Minimal modding, no soldering, just plug and play. You do have to buy the new bezel, but not a big cost there compared to buying the new case that you need for the other mod. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, leave a comment, like the video, subscribe, all the YouTube things. I appreciate all the traction we've gotten on the channel so far. It's been really great seeing everything come together, and it looks like we're putting together content that you guys are enjoying. So I really appreciate you being here. Check out this video. This is the video of the other Game Boy that I modded last week. So if you missed that one, you want to see that screen be installed in a Game Boy Color, check it out here. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you in the next one.